Hey everyone, Parkland TCG here. Thanks for tuning in for another video. Today's video I'm really excited about. We're going to be talking about the grading company. So PSA, Beckett, and CGC. And I'm going to give you kind of my opinion on the current status and what you should be looking for if you want to submit to these companies, and the slabs and the grading process and the pricing. So hope you enjoy the video. Before we get to that, I just want to give a little update. First of all, I want to thank everybody who's subscribed to the channel. I just checked and I'm just over 850 subscribers, which is really cool. So once we reach 1,000, I'll be doing that giveaway, and I'm still kind of figuring out what else I want to add to it. But I will be opening this up on that 1,000 subscriber video, which is a Piplup 2007 tin. And inside this tin is two Power Keepers booster packs, a Delta Species booster pack, and a Dragon Frontiers booster pack. So it's a really nice tin to open up. I'm looking for another one on eBay. I know there's a couple on there. I'm just trying to find one for the right price. So if I do, I'll open up a second one, and I'm really looking forward to that. So thanks to everybody who subscribed, and hopefully we can get to that 1,000 subscriber mark here in the next month or so. So PSA, Beckett, and CGC. Who should you submit to? Well, that is a loaded question, but the first thing I think you should take into consideration before you start submitting to these companies is the look of the slab. So which one of these looks better in your opinion? Because I think if you're going to have something, at least in your personal collection, you're going to want it to look good, in your opinion, because that's all that matters. It's your opinion. This is all, none of these are, this is all opinion based. So personally, most of my slabs are PSA. However, I think CGC's slab looks really nice. I do wish that CGC's slab would kind of take a note from Beckett and incorporate some sort of a label like this with gold or silver, just to distinguish it and make it a little bit more special, because right now CGC is just using the blue for everything. If you do have a 10 in CGC, the lettering is gold, but I think if the entire label was gold or silver or black, a black label Beckett, that would be really cool. So maybe they'll do that in the future. And the slabs, difference in the slabs, we have, so Beckett, PSA and CGC, their slabs are very similar in size and width. The only difference is the plastic. The plastic in CGC is a lot clearer, and you can see in the PSA slab, it has like this, like almost frosted look to it. I actually prefer the CGC clear look better, but I do like the simplicity in the PSA, label, I should say. So every company has, things I like and things I don't like. So you just got to pick one and stick with it and hope for the best. So let's talk about the grading process now, because that is one of the biggest elements, is how these companies grade these cards. Who's stricter in grading, who's not as strict in grading. So I would say that Beckett and CGC have very similar grading processes. So they both give you the subgrades, which is very nice, because if you have a card that gets a low grade or a lower grade than you expected, it's nice to know why it got that grade. Whereas PSA, they don't give you that. PSA just slaps the number on there, and you have to use your imagination. So that is one thing I wish PSA would do, is add subgrades somehow. I do realize they probably would have to redo this entire label and case to incorporate that, or make it taller, because right now obviously there's no space here for subgrades. But if CGC can do it, then certainly PSA can do it. they certainly have the resources and the funds to reimagine their whole slab. I don't anticipate them doing that anytime soon, but maybe in the future they will. And as far as the guidelines or the strictness of the grading, Beckett and CGC, from what I've seen, grade a lot harsher than PSA does. Particularly Beckett, because Beckett's been around longer than CGC has, so we have more data. But the holy grail for Beckett is what they call a black label 10. So black label 10 is when you have a 10 on every single of the 4 points there. So it's centering, edges, corners, and surface would all have a 10. And that would mean a black label Beckett 10, which is what everybody wants. Even guys that collect PSA, want a black label 10. I mean, I don't have a black label 10 and I collect PSA, but I really want one. They're just so hard to get. It's such a small percentage of cards achieve that it's very, very difficult, and they do command a huge premium. CGC grades very similar to Beckett. They also have the subgrades like Beckett does, and their grading is a lot harsher. I mean, there are some CGC 9.5s like this card that I'm pretty confident if I sent this to PSA, it would get a 10. And I know a lot of people would probably agree with that. And the same thing for Beckett. I could probably crack this case, which means opening it up, take the card out, send it to PSA, and there's probably a strong likelihood that it could get a 10. So that's one thing to consider. But PSA's been around a lot longer, which is why most people collect PSA and they prefer PSA. Just like I do. I prefer PSA. I have a lot of PSA cards. There's just something about it that it has this prestige to it. But I think these other 2 companies are serious contenders. They're a lot less expensive to submit to than PSA is. PSA is backed up like crazy right now with orders, and they're not the cheapest, but they do hold their value. So a PSA 10 will sell for more than a Beckett 9.5, generally speaking. And the same thing applies to CGC. A PSA 10 will sell for more than a CGC 9.5. Now, where it gets interesting is a Beckett 10, a Beckett Gold Label 10, will most likely sell for more than a PSA 10. And of course, a black label will always sell more than basically any other grading any grading services 10, because black label is the epitome. That's what everybody wants. That is the holy grail. So let's talk about the process here. All these companies grade on 4 criteria, which is corners, edges, surface, and centering. Beckett is kind of more notorious for being harsher on centering than the other companies are. Why that is, I don't know. But they certainly are a lot more harsher on centering. PSA has been known to be harsher on corners. So yeah, if you have a card with some scuffs in the corner, some whitening, there's a good chance it'll get a 9 from PSA, just because of that, even if the centering is perfect. And CGC and Beckett, I don't want to say they're interchangeable, because sort of value-wise, Beckett is selling for more than a CGC 9.5, in comparison. But CGC is making a name for themselves. They're really growing, and they are by far the cheapest of the grading services. And that brings us to our next talking point, is the pricing. So PSA's pricing is the most expensive. They require you to submit based on the projected graded value of the card, which means you send in a card, a raw card, and you have to submit it, on the service level that you think the card is going to grade at. So the cheapest service level that you can use is what they call a value submission. So it's $10 per card with a 20 card minimum, but you can only submit cards that have a estimated value of $199 or less. If you submit, for example, a first edition Charizard from base set as a bulk submission, they're going to upcharge you. So the idea is they want you to spend more money to grade the more expensive cards. The next service level that PSA has is the regular submission level, which is $50 a card. There's no minimum on the amount of cards you need to send in for this level, and you can send cards with a value of up to $999. The next service level after that is the express service level, which allows you to send cards up to $2,499, and their turnaround times are crazy right now. For the most part, all grading companies, their service, their turnaround times are really backed up. I mean, for the cheapest service level for PSA, you're looking at 8 to 12 months. For the regular service level, and I've submitted cards recently, I've gotten them back 30 to 40 days. Express is around 20 days, so there's not that much difference between express and regular from what I've seen. I've submitted cards relatively at the same time on express and the regular service levels, and I got them back almost just a couple days apart. And then, if you really have a really expensive card, you can go super express, which is up to $4,999, and so on and so forth. You can get stuff graded in 2 days if you want, but you do have to pay the premium for it. Now, Beckett, on the other hand, is a little bit more straightforward. It's a little bit easier. You can just submit basically any card you want. It doesn't have to be by the value of the card. There's no value requirements for Beckett. And it's cheaper, okay? So the cheapest service level that Beckett has, if you want the subgrades, because they do charge a little bit extra if you want to add the subgrades on the card, which I do think is worth it. It's $25 if you want to submit a card with subgrades. That's the cheapest service level they have. That's the economy level. And then they have the standard level, which is $35 a card. And then they have Express, which is $100 a card. And then they have the premium service level, which is $125 a card. But keep in mind, you could submit any cards under any service level you want. There's no upcharges. There's no, anything else. They just charge, based on the insurance is how they charge you. So I've submitted cards recently to Beckett. So the economy service level is the cheapest service level for Beckett. Is taking around 6 months. The standard service level is around 4 months. And then once you get into Express and Premium, it's drastically reduced. Express is going to be around 2 weeks, and Premium is probably 5-10 days. So it's a lot cheaper, but keep in mind, Beckett grades a lot harsher. So if all you care about is seeing that number 10 up there, you have a better shot of achieving that 10 by submitting to PSA. Unless you like the look, as I mentioned before, of the Beckett slabs better. So it all comes down to what's more important to you. Do you care about seeing a number 10 up there, or do you care about the look of the slab and you want it graded, however the company you choose grades? And lastly, we have CGC, the new kid on the block. It's become very popular, specifically for people who like sending cards in, getting them back quickly, and selling them immediately. A lot of people are flipping cards using the CGC service, and for good reason. It's drastically cheaper than Beckett and PSA, and you're getting these cards back a lot quicker. So there's a bulk submission service with CGC. It's $8 a card. and you can submit cards that have a value of up to $100, and you get them back in 30 days according to CGC's website. Given their popularity, I would probably leave some room for error on that. It's probably going to be a little bit more than 30 days, but still, even at 45, 60 days, that is months and months and months faster than Beckett and PSA. And then they have the economy service, which is $15 a card. You can submit a card up to $400 in value. There's no minimum card amount, and the estimated turnaround time for that is still around 30 days. And I would probably give an allowance, probably 45 to 60 just in case, but still, again, it's much quicker. And then they have the standard service, which is 20 days, which is incredible considering the amount of cards that people are submitting. Again, it's probably going to be a little bit more than 20 days, but still, it's a fantastic turnaround time. But I suspect as they gain popularity, turnaround times are going to keep slowing down and slowing down. One thing to note is CGC does charge an extra $5 if you do want subgrade, so you can just add $5 to all of the prices I just gave you. So at the end of the day, you have to decide what's important to you. Do you care about the look? Do you care about the grade you're getting? Is that the most important thing? For me, I just want my collection to be uniform, so I want cards to look the same as far as the slab they're in. I do have these two kind of one-offs, but I have been considering kind of cracking this and sending it to Beckett. Sending it to PSA and just seeing what I can get, but I may or may not do that. There's a lot of other things I want to do before I start cracking cards open. One other thing I want to mention is memberships. So for Beckett, you don't need to be a member. You don't have to pay a monthly or a yearly fee to send cards to them. With CGC, you do. You have to, the minimum level of membership that you can buy is $25, and that allows you to send cards to them online, submit them through the mail. PSA does not require you to pay money to be a member. However, if you do want to use their bulk service, you have to be a member. And I know that PSA has suspended a lot of their memberships, so if you need to send the bulk submission now, the best way to do it is to use a grading service. There's a lot out there. The one that comes to mind is Graded Gem, just because I've seen them a lot. I've never used a grading service, so I don't know how good they are, but I've heard good things, so that might be something to consider. But again, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a lot of information. And I'll try to put some things in the description, links and things to help everybody out. And if there's anything I missed, feel free to mention it in the comments, and I can talk about it in the next video where I show everybody how to submit these cards, the process of submitting and filling out forms and putting them in card savers and sending them out in the mail. So if there's anything I missed, I would appreciate it if you guys would let me know. And again, thanks to everybody who subscribed. I'll probably do the submission video for next Friday. That'll give me some time to edit and whatnot. So I appreciate it, and I hope everybody enjoys the video. Have a great day. Take care.